The fighting at Cuito Cuanaval continued, and every minor victory or loss altered the givens at the negotiating table. The next meeting, held in Cairo, would make or break the peace process.
When ministers get around a big table in a major capital like Cairo, they really can't help themselves. They just can't resist microphones. And they just go from bad to worse. And Risquet managed to say things about Cuba's heroic contributions to African stability and development, and Cuba's intention to see to it that peace would come when there was an end of apartheid and when there was an end of this and an end of colonial rule in Namibia.
It was a meeting almost of emotional hatred. Mr. Risquet, he started by launching a vicious attack on us. Vicious. Saying, you've always been imperialists, racists, capitalists, causing trouble wherever you went, etc., etc.
At that point, Puk Botha and Magnus Milan just went after the Cubans, and it was very dramatic. And it was basically a test of manhood. A lot of testosterone in the atmosphere, I think is the way to put it.
Entretanto, começaram a haver declarações do Puk Botha, dizendo que Angola ia nacionalizar as tropas cubanas como angolanos para ficarem lá, ia casar cubanos com angolanas, para eles serem angolanos, uma série de manobras. Sempre está bem.
Porque decía que íbamos a dejar ahí cubanos como casados, como matrimonio, para dejar tropas camufladas. Es absurdo. Desde luego le contestamos con mucha fuerza. Le dijimos que no podíamos decir el número de matrimonio porque en Cuba el matrimonio es una cosa libre entre personas de dos sexos. Y ahí es que en Cuba ni en Angola había la Moral Act que había en Sudáfrica, donde se prohibían los matrimonios birraciales.
Mas nós também queríamos fazer um pedido. Queremos saber quantos negros estão em prisão, que estão nas prisões do apartheid da África do Sul. Se eu fosse jovem, jogávamos aqui a soco, íamos jogar pancada, porque eu não admito uma coisa disso. Então, aí tá bom, intervalo. Acabar a coisa.
Vengo un tabaco ahí. Vengo a buscar un tabaco, señor de la prensa.
I'm not taking any statement, I'm just looking for a cigar.
It seemed the talks were headed for total breakdown. But later that night, an unexpected turn of events opened a new window of opportunity.
We went for a drink in this pub in the Cairo Hotel. There were some Cubans, including Mr. Risquet. Then we had a drink together, and I said to him, has it ever occurred to you that we could both be winners? And he chuckled in his drink. He said, what do you mean? I said to him, look, to put it in simple terms, if we carry on with this war, we will both be losers. If you withdraw your troops on the basis of having given Namibia its independence, your leader, Fidel Castro, can claim that he won. You claim a victory of a greater nature, namely the freedom of the people of Namibia you have achieved. And I say to the white voters of South Africa, I got rid of the Cuban troops in Angola. And our war is also ended. That makes us both winners. And suddenly I could see a total dramatic change in his whole attitude.
After the Cairo meeting, a ceasefire at Cuito Cuanaval was implemented. But it wasn't easy to clinch the final deal. Having South Africa show its goodwill by at least releasing the legendary prisoner Nelson Mandela became a sticking point.
The whole world was descending on us. Apartheid was viewed as a prime evil. The release of Mr. Mandela was demanded. I knew that we had to reduce the tension to be able to release Mr. Mandela and the other political prisoners. If we could not do so, and the only way to relieve the tension in southern Africa was to come to an agreement and end the war in Angola.
By forcing the South Africans to trade the independence of Namibia for the Cuban withdrawal, that in the end justified everything to Castro, that he could think of himself as having been the father of Namibian independence and the man who ended colonialism in Africa. Cuba, in fact, demonstrated a level of responsibility in its behavior and maturity in its judgment that arguably should have been recognized by the United States as an important gesture deserving some response. But the politics of this in the United States, that is, the politics of relations with Cuba, are poisonous in the extreme. So in the end, Cuba, which acted responsibly and should have been acknowledged for doing so, got no such acknowledgement.
On December 22nd, 1988, almost 1 month to the day before the end of Ronald Reagan's presidency, peace accords were signed in New York. The parties simultaneously signed documents granting Namibia's independence and ensuring the withdrawal of Cuban troops from Angola. The withdrawal of 450,000 Cubans was scheduled to take place over 30 months, ending 13 years of Cuban military presence in Angola. A month short of the deadline, the last Cuban soldier left the African soil. With him, ended the epic of Cuba's military support for African revolutions.
Y como habíamos dicho, de Angola solo nos llevaremos los restos de nuestros hermanos caídos. No nos traemos ni petróleo, ni diamantes, ni nada, sino los restos de los compañeros que murieron. Y aquel 7 de diciembre, al mismo tiempo, en todos los cementerios del país, al mismo tiempo, a una misma hora, recibieron sepultura a todos los combatientes caídos en África.
The total number of Cuban casualties remains one of the island's best-kept secrets, but military historians agree that at least 10,000 Cubans died in Angola.
En ese